Hi, welcome to Mondays with Melissa. People are always asking me questions about real property and transfers to an irrevocable trust. So I thought I'd touch a bit on that today. It's a very, very common planning tool to use an irrevocable trust to protect the asset of real property, especially here in New York, where real property is typically the largest asset. So people become concerned about their $250,000 exclusion for capital gains tax. So when you sell property, the first $250,000 of gain is excluded for tax purposes. So if it's a married couple, the first $500,000 of gain is excluded. So if you purchased your property for $50,000 and you're selling it for $550,000, that $500,000 profit is not going to be taxable because you get that exclusion if it's the married couple. So people are often concerned if they put their house into an irrevocable trust, are they going to lose that exclusion? And the answer to that question is no, as long as the trust is properly drafted. You have to retain some rights in the property in order to keep that exclusion if the trust ends up selling the property sometime in the future. So don't not consider an irrevocable trust because you think you're going to lose that exclusion upon the sale of the house. The other thing that comes up often with irrevocable trusts has to do with tax exemptions. So when you have real property and you live in your home and you're a veteran, you're a senior, perhaps you have lower income, you're entitled to all sorts of property tax exemptions. So a reduction in your property tax. And some of those reductions are significant. People often become concerned that if they place their home into an irrevocable trust, they're going to lose those tax exemptions and their property taxes are going to shoot up and they're not going to be able to afford them. Again, as long as the trust is properly drafted, you are not going to lose those tax exemptions that you're entitled to, whether they're VA, STAR, Enhanced STAR, those will all remain in place. But you do have to make sure that trust is properly drafted. So you want to make sure that the person drafting the trust understands what your concerns are and what your goals are to make sure that that all remains in place. Another concern when it comes to real property and trusts is what's called a step-up in basis. So when somebody owns real property in their own name and they pass away and that property then goes to their child, the child gets what's called a step-up in basis, which means their basis in the property becomes the fair market value on the date the parent passed away. The basis is essentially if you buy your house for $50,000, that's your cost basis. So that is the number that's used on calculating capital gains tax and things like that going down the line. So when you pass away and your child inherits your property, they're going to get a full step up in basis, which means their basis becomes fair market value on the date you passed away. So people become concerned if the house goes into an irrevocable trust, is my child going to lose that step up in basis when they inherit the property upon my passing? And the same answer, as long as the trust is drafted properly, that step up in basis will remain in place. So obviously the common denominator here is the trust has to be drafted properly, which is why it's so important to contact an attorney that handles these matters and understands what language needs to be in the trust to make sure that you get to keep all of those benefits that you're entitled to. So you can certainly reach out to us at Cona Elder Law at 631-390-5000 or visit our website at conaelderlaw.com and make sure to follow me on Legally Melissa on Instagram and Facebook. We'll see you next week.